Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I want to talk for a minute about the virtual gulag that's being set up for all of us. I know we've talked about this before. By the way, welcome to everybody. Welcome to all the new subscribers, both here and over on Patreon. It's great to have you. I did have to ban somebody the other day. I don't usually do that. I want you new people to feel welcome and like you can comment on here and be a part of it, and because that's what we want. We want you to be a part of this, and you're going to find out that what I say when I say that I have the smartest commenters on YouTube is true. Um, and I want you to be a part of that and get something out of it. And all I ask is that you be nice. I had somebody that got a little snarky yesterday. It's too bad. I'd say that 90% of his comments in the past had been just fine and actually added to the commentary. But he had a tendency to get too close to the line sometimes. And finally, I just had to have him go. You know, when we're all here together, I want you all to feel like, the whole world it can be at your throat. And usually those people that are like that are the ones who don't really want to be involved in true conversation. They just want to take shots and shots and shots. That's not what this is about. This is about talking about things and conversing about things and listening to other people's viewpoints. Now, there are certain viewpoints that I won't allow, but if it's an honest viewpoint, there's no problem. As long as you treat other people courteously and with some respect. Anyway, so I didn't want to have to say that, and I wished I hadn't had to, but that's the way it goes. I just got done. I'm going to talk about the virtual gulag because that does affect us and it affects our preparedness. What are we going to do about it? I just got done shooting today's video for American Reversion. I suggest any of you all who are really into the politics or doesn't have to be politics. It has to do with what's going on in our world. The big dangers that we're facing. I'm covering more of that over on American Reversion. I'll put the link down here because if you're interested in more than just bullets and beans and band-aids, you want to be over there too. That's where we talk about the real issues of the day. And that thing is growing like wildfire over there, and it's great to have everybody. I was reading my list of topics, and I limit myself to about 30 minutes. I come up with 2 hours a day to talk about over there, but about 30 minutes. I didn't have time to get this one in, but it applies so well here on this channel that I'm going to put it here and probably get back over there tomorrow. And this is from Breitbart. It's Jack Posobiec. I don't know if I've pronounced that properly because I've never heard anybody say it. He's a senior editor at Human Events, and he's the host of Human Events Daily. And it was being interviewed by Alex Marlow, he's with Breitbart, one of their senior editors. And so I'm going to read the heading here and then just a couple of paragraphs here, and then we'll talk about it for a minute. And I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and your contributions on this. It says Jack Posobiec, senior editor at Human Events and host of Human Events Daily, told Breitbart News in an exclusive interview that the new types, quote, the new types of gulags are going to be virtual gulags for those who engage in wrongthink, and they will be in the form of financial and service blacklisting. Now, this is nothing new. I mean, this is something that we've talked about for a while, right? But it's going to be, I did want to share what he had to say because it leads into what we're going to say. Breitbart News editor-in-chief Alex Marlow, I said he was a senior editor, he's editor-in-chief, sat down with Posobiec at Turning Point USA's recent Amerifest conference in Phoenix, where he asked the following. Do you think it's a very long stretch from the virtual gulag that so many of us are in to a literal gulag? Because this is something that I think people are talking about more, particularly with regards to Australia. If you've been keeping up, and we've covered it here, and shout out to our friends over in Australia. I hope you all are doing well. We don't hear much out of you as we used to. I hope that means things are going well instead of badly. But still, our thoughts and prayers are with you. If you all are not familiar with what's been happening in Australia, it's a good lesson. Go and find out. And so Marlowe continues. The idea is that they are, by and large, placed in either secret prisons, which is easier to do in China. Well, this is Prosobiec talking. The idea is that they are, by and large, placed in either secret prisons, which is easier to do in China than it is here, not impossible here, or the idea of putting someone on house arrest. He continued, the new types of gulags are going to be virtual gulags, but not just in terms of speech. It's going to be, we're going to debank you, we're going to deplatform you, you're not going to be able to have a payment processor, you're not going to be able to make a living, you're canceled from all of your jobs, you're not going to be able to have any money, your bank account is going to be frozen. You've got a guy now, Dominic, he's continuing. You've got a guy now, Dominic Black, the guy who bought the gun that Kyle Rittenhouse used. Well, they've raised money for his defense, I believe about $100,000. Stripe, that's a payment processor. The last time I talked to them, Stripe was not allowing the $100,000 that they raised online to be given for a legal defense. He added, not taking one side or the other, but the idea that we used to think in this country that everyone ought to be afforded a legal defense. Imagine you will not be able to participate in the modern world. This is what it's all about. Uber drops you, Lyft, well, like that affects most of us, right? But this is this actually is going to get into how we get more people who, depend on this stuff on our side. So he says, imagine you will not be able to participate in the modern world. Uber drops you, Lyft drops you, Uber Eats drops you, DoorDash, Postmates, whatever. They all drop you. You are isolated. You are essentially at the point in a virtual gulag. Okay. Now, a lot of us laugh at that. I've never used DoorDash. I imagine most of you haven't either. I've never used Lyft because I have a car. I have a truck. Probably not. That's laughable to us. But we have to realize that there are millions and millions of people in this world who hold sway over things. They vote. Many of them are on our side. They may not be preppers yet, but this is gonna push them in that direction, and they are already on our side politically. These are extremely conservative people, and you'd be surprised. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe some of you are tuned in the same way I am. I didn't mean that to sound like I'm tuned in more than you are. I'm tuned in. We're all tuned in differently, right? Depending on where we live and what groups of people we usually associate with, we're tuned in differently. But I'm tuned into a lot of very, very conservative millennials and Generation X's and Z's and whatever those generations are, I'm not sure. But these people are on our side of the fence when it comes to political ideology. And it's important that they see themselves unified with us and us unified with them. So when he's talking about, when Marlowe and Posobiec or whatever his name is, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, I just don't know it. When they're talking about a virtual gulag, that is essentially what's being set up now. Now, at what point, would it go to a literal, a physical gulag? I don't think that it will. I don't care what everybody's afraid of FEMA camps and all that. I don't believe in that at all. Well, I won't say at all. Let me paraphrase that. It would probably take an entire different video for me to explain where I think that's going. Maybe I'll do that if I remember. But a virtual gulag, a cutting you out of being able to participate in the economy, is an extremely serious step, right? It's extremely serious. We don't care. I know you and I don't care about Lyft and Uber Eats and whatever all those other things are, but we need to be able to bank. We need to be able to, to carry on the kind of normal modern life we can. We're able to live otherwise, but we live comfortable lives now, and we want to continue if we can. So you're cut off. If they cut off from your ability to have an online financial life, that can be a problem for people. I suggest that everyone get ready for that. It may not happen, but you should be ready for it, because the whole purpose of preparedness is to be ready for things that can happen. Okay, many of them won't happen, so you can't say they will happen, but they can happen. And if it's a possibility, you should be ready for it. And the farther along the line of probability it is, the more ready you should be for it. You should prioritize so that the more probable something is, the more you're ready for it. And then you kind of slice it down. Okay, this may happen. I'm kind of ready for that. This probably won't happen. I'm a little ready for that. Whatever it is, whatever makes you comfortable in that. But this is definitely something you should be ready for. And I've always been a big believer. You've heard me say for a long time, stack cash, have cash at home. I have people ask me, how much cash do you have? They don't ask me how much I have, because I wouldn't say, or where it is. But you should, let me put it this way. It doesn't all have to be at home either. I'll just say that. It should be available. You should have cash available, because I also tell people, don't put your cash at your place. Okay, well, you need people that you trust, right? But anyway, you should have, I would say, and I use a rule of thumb, a third of your available money. So let's just say you have $3,000 in your checking account or savings account or whatever. I say have a third of that where you can grab it in cash, within an hour, right? If you have, 12,000, I'd say have 4,000, available in cash, whatever you can afford and whatever makes you comfortable. Now, I mean, if you want to have all of your money in cash, that's your business. Of course, you can't pay online bills and things like that. And most of us do that just because it makes life easier. So, whatever's right for you is right for you. But anyway, keep this in mind, because this is a noose that can tighten very, very quickly. I'd be interested to hear what you all have to say about it. I'm not asking what you're doing about it, and I suggest you don't put it in that. Don't frame it in that way. Don't say, here's what I do. But you might say, here's what I might suggest, right? And that could be very helpful to people who are just, more recently getting into preparedness and just more recently starting to think about these things, because a lot of these younger people particularly are good potential allies of ours, and it's this technological gulag that's going to help them to join our ranks, and it's one of the ways that we win in the end, if we win in the end. Okay, well, you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and I will probably talk to you tomorrow, but I talk to you every day over on American Reversion, and again, the link is down there. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.